Ladies and gentlemen, I saw this come across yesterday, and by then I had done my videos and I said, "Oh, I'll do this in the morning." So, Tim Scott has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. So, I don't think he was doing so well in the polls, and he was just not getting the traction that he was looking for. But I did a video just 2 days ago on him showing his alleged girlfriend. So let's get into this story. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina announced Sunday night that he is dropping out of the 2024 Republican presidential campaign, shocking a TV interviewer and even his own campaign staff with an abrupt departure from the race. When I go back to Iowa, it will not be as a presidential candidate. I am suspending my campaign, Scott said in an appearance on um, former GOP rep Trey Gowdy Fox News program. I think the voters, who are the most remarkable people on the planet, have been really clear that they're telling me, "Not now," Scott continued. The announcement was a surprise to Gowdy, a former colleague of Scott's in the House of Representatives, appeared to be doing a double take as he made the statement. Multiple Scott staffers told NBC News they got no warning. He was ending the campaign, finding out only by watching him say so on TV. Well, that's pretty cold, Tim, and very unprofessional to deal with your employees like that. They really should have known before you made the formal announcement on TV. So, Scott's campaign even sent out a fundraising email not long before he announced he was leaving the race. "We want to give you one last chance to donate this week and help Tim reach his campaign goal. You can chip in to help Tim win," the campaign wrote. His decision comes amid efforts to consolidate the GOP opposition to former President Donald Trump, who has big leads in the primary polls, including the first caucus state, Iowa. Tim took 7% support there in October, NBC News Des Moines Register Mediacom poll, putting him in fourth place. Now, Trump is not even debating at all. He's so tied up with his legal issues, and he is still polling ahead of every single one of these GOP candidates. It says a lot right there. Scott's dropout also comes days after the third Republican presidential candidate debate in Miami, after which he canceled a scheduled weekend campaign swing in Iowa, citing the flu. Scott started the 2024 candidate as a candidate relatively little known compared to others that he was competing with. His campaign and allied super PAC spent nearly $25 million dollars on ads in Iowa and other early states promoting him as an optimistic conservative, according to Ad Impact, the ad tracking service. Scott saw an uptick in the early state polls soon through the summer. But money started to grow tight leading up to Sunday's dropout, according to a source familiar with the campaign. Scott never caught fire in the GOP debates. See, that's because he wanted to talk all kinds of crap about the Black community. He was up on the stage saying welfare was worse on black people than slavery. See, when you say stuff like that, and that doesn't make sense to anyone, and he knows it, but like I said to y'all in the last video, this is how this man gets back into the Senate. He plays he in a sense he uses the race card, right? But he uses it in a way where he tells white people the racism that you inflict on black people, that ain't really that bad. That's what he does. That's what he does. Or tell them, "Oh, no, this country is not racist. This is not a racist country. We have good white bread people everywhere." Okay, that's how he gets back into office, is denying and downplaying racism. So, and his poll numbers stagnated as an in-state rival caught attention. He is dropping out of the race just as former South Carolina Nikki Haley, and remember, she was the governor at one point in time down in South Carolina, has pulled into second place in early state primary polls. Haley, who appointed Scott to the Senate in 2012. He, she praised him on X, the social media platform. Tim Scott is a good man of faith and an inspiration to so many. The Republican primary was made better by his participation in it. South Carolina is blessed to continue to have him as our senator, she wrote. Last month, Scott's super PAC canceled millions of dollars in planned fall advertising, saying the Republican electorate wasn't focused or ready for a Trump alternative. There comes a point where it's clear that there isn't going to be a breakthrough moment, and one was really needed given that he stood in the field, a Scott campaign staffer said. The staffer praised Scott messages and members, but they never translated into support. And that's just the reality of what it takes to win. And if you don't have a path, it's time to help consolidate to beat Trump. I don't think any of those candidates on the stage can beat Trump. I really don't. I don't. While Scott's voters are now going to have to find another candidate, he indicated in the interview with Gowdy that he wasn't looking to endorse one of his former rivals at this time. I'm going to recommend that the voters study each candidate and their candidacies, and frankly, their past, and make a decision for the future of the country, he said. The best way for me to be helpful is to not weigh in on who they should endorse. And Scott seemed uninterested in the idea of becoming a candidate for vice president later on in the campaign. Vice president has never been on my to do list for this campaign. It is certainly not there now, he told Gowdy. Scott is leaving the race after another well known candidate dropped out. Former Vice President Mike Pence suspended his campaign in late October as the Republican presidential field went now down. So, Scott, former rivals, reacted to the news on social media. Tim Scott is a strong conservative with bold ideas about how to get our country back on track. I respect his courage to run this campaign and thank him for his service to America and the U.S. Senate. I look forward to Tim continuing to be a leader in our party for years to come. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis posted on X. Vivek Bad Salami praised Scott as a good dude before referring to an interaction the two had on stage at last week's Republican debate and taking a dig at Haley. I gave at Senator Tim Scott. He said he congratulated him and he did gold fist bump emojis on stage when the other South Carolinian shamelessly copied exactly what he said. Bad Salami posted on X, wishing Tim all the best back in the Senate. So, Tim Scott is out. He is completely out of the race. And you know what's so funny? Larry Elder was so upset that they wouldn't put him on the stage and let him debate. When the news reports came out, they said Tim Scott was the only black presidential candidate. They didn't say, anything about Larry Elder. They're just completely ignoring him. Boy, that speaks volumes. But Larry Elders, he continues to have his head up their rear. He does. I mean, it's amazing how he was done by the people he favors the most, and he is still licking their boots, y'all. So tell me what you think about this news on Tim Scott dropping out. Quite frankly, he would never have been an asset to the black community because he does not even, if you can't admit racism, you can't support the community, period. But he's not doing that now as a U.S. Senator. He's not looking out for our best interests. He hasn't since he been in politics. He has never looked out for the best interests of the people that look just like him. And he never will. He never will. That's never going to be on his agenda. So, all the things that we're concerned about, reparations, doing something about qualified immunity, and we also want a crime bill. Tim Scott is not the one that's going to help us achieve any of those things, not now or not in the future. In fact, if anything, he would oppose it. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.